we'll do a little scanning for beeps too as well on the gravel here. There'll probably be a lot of radioactive rocks and stuff. There's a hot rock. It melted right through the snow. Now, I'm not disputing the fact that there's hot particles coming over in the wind and in the moisture in the high altitude clouds. That's not what I'm disputing. But I'm disputing the amount and the volume. I've done over probably 75 to 100 tests now, and I've never had a spike over 0.32 outdoors, and that was only once. So, to be able to, wipe a vehicle or something every day, get readings that are intensely high, just sounds unlikely to me. And it's also, would be accumulating on the ground, so it'd be huge levels on the ground around Chilliwack and Hope and stuff, as well as in the mountain here, because it really doesn't, it's a direct line to the area that was getting rain there. 0.06, folks. I don't know if you can see that. Plastic. This is Borg. So let's try out some of this dry area, because water does insulate radiation. And when water insulates radiation, the levels are going to be lower. So, higher levels for drier concentrate. And I'll put links below so you can check out how to read radiation. I'm much more concerned about jets making clouds in the sky as an indirect result of air traffic, whether you want to call it chemtrails or geoengineering or whatever. It's blocking the sun, and it's affecting a lot of living creatures on the planet for sunlight, including plants, and plants feed animals, and animals need that. So the sheer fact of blocking the sun with contrails, chemtrails, geoengineering trails, aluminum, whatever you want to call or assume it is enough of a reason. Affects everybody on the planet. Not many things affect everybody on the planet like that. At least not things that we can actually stop and find out what's going on. 0.06. I'm not hearing any beeps, folks. We've got this nice piece of ground mesh here too that we can test. 0.3. That is 0.3, folks. Just a random spot on the ground. In Japan, this would be clicking off pretty hot, hundreds of kilometers from Fukushima, or from the Daiichi plant, which isn't in Fukushima. It's outside, about 60 kilometers, I think, from Fukushima City. So, we are on Seymour Mountain, folks. Vancouver, BC. North Vancouver, if you want to get specific, but you're not picking up any radiation on Seymour Mountain. Seems even less than what I find on the streets in Vancouver, so. 0.12, folks. Wait and keep going. Give you a nice little street view here for a second. So tourists are safe in Vancouver. pretty tough to live up here in the winter time. Check back in on the Geiger counter. 0, folks. 0. We'll try some of this damp soil here. Go for a little walk. Since this is bored, got me the plastic tube going again. I was using it before, but I have taped the back of this thing, so there has been not much chance of contamination considering the levels we're picking up. I challenge anybody to come up here to Seymour Mountain and take some readings. We'll get a third person in Vancouver and BC that's testing. I'm sure that people in Lake Louise will be taking samples of dirt for me, as well as in Edmonton, through the Geoengineering Chemtrail Friends Network thing. So we're going to double check the soil that we have seen posted as being exposed to extremely high levels of radiation in the rain, which doesn't go away in a day or two. So got about 50 to 100 years to probably detect cesium there. 09. And I checked it on the smoke detector this morning, and it was dangerous background levels, so 0.54, 0.65, 0.78, 0.42, and nothing like that on the ground out here. And I didn't buy this used, this soaks. This was bought brand new, calibrated less than 3 months ago, or 3 months ago or so. I held off showing you folks readings because I didn't want to assume. I wanted to make sure that I'd tested enough places. And this is generally what you're seeing here. It might not be a full 10 or 20 minute cycle, but I've been getting just same kind of readings. We're going to put it on the mud here next, where water has run down the bank here. And the reason I'm checking for sediment is because, a lot like gold panning or anything like that, the heaviest elements are going to fall to the bottom. So in a creek like this, where you're looking at this large rock here, the flow of the river wants to go straight. So it would want to go straight from there through that rock down to there. So what happens is the heaviest elements will hit this little pocket there, get caught on that corner there, and then stream off the tip of this obstruction in the creek straight back in a line of concentrate. Now, when it rains and there's particles that are heavy, and even on a microscopic or nano level, properties that, you know, are very, very fine will still accumulate in riffles and different areas where the flow is impeded, like a curb or a crack on a grate of a sewer or something like that. You're going to have an accumulation in those cracks where heavier elements have fallen into the cracks. So now we're down to 0.06. couple more beeps there, so we'll leave it. I should probably take some samples here. There's not much of anything to pan on Mount Seymour, I can tell you that, so don't waste your time too much up here. You might find stuff that's fallen out of skiers' pockets, but that's about it, and they do that at the beginning of the year. So this hill's cleaned. As soon as the snow melts, everything that's lost probably gets picked up by tourists or by people that work up here that know to check every year for stuff. A lot of stuff gets dropped. So the little creek here. Now this would be your area here where you would check for gold. It's along this edge here where heavy elements are sinking to the bottom and the water's flowing up over top of it. So this pocket would fill up with heavy elements, and if it was gold, there would be gold in there, or magnetite, uranium, plutonium, any of those heavies you would find accumulating in this area in the depression of the creek, sinking to the bottom. Much like this sediment here that is all washover, and it would be heavier underneath this sandbar. Heaviest rocks would be underneath this pile by majority. So went up to 0.12 or 0.12, folks. So I'm just going to do a few little waves around here. Spend a lot of time up here. See if I pick up any beeps. Went up to 14.14. So the concentrates here we're seeing seems to be a little bit of a beeping area. And it did go up to 0.18 there, so we'll leave it for a sec.